Hello and welcome to Inside the Video Store. It is just coming up to 7 p.m. on Thursday, the 19th, is that, of March. What a day it's been. It's been nuts. Apologies to John and his wife Liz, who I've just had to physically remove from the shop. But I literally have to get this done now in two sections, otherwise it doesn't get done. So unfortunately, I had to cut short their bi-weekly visit this evening, which was a shame. But they've been very, very generous. They've given a lift to one of my customers' home, which is fantastic. How lovely is that? And it's one of the things that really does highlight the community feel of Snips. I think since about 3 or 3:30 today, there's just been a constant rotation of customers for around about 3.5 hours, where it's been literally 3 or 4, 5 customers in at the same time, all interacting with each other and all giving each other recommendations and tips and telling stories about films and what influenced them and what turns them on and what turns them off, and David Lynch's Dune and things like that. And it's just been a really wonderful afternoon, just the kind of thing that I've always wanted Snips to become, where almost I can stand back, just fold my arms and just kind of watch people talk to each other about films, people who have never ever met, meeting for the first time, talking about films, sharing anecdotes and stories and recommendations. And this is what we should be doing. It's so introverted, being stuck, trapped at home, stuck on streaming. And you can try and convince me that streaming has its benefits in terms of convenience, and I'm sure it does. But in terms of socializing and in terms of mental health, I think it's so important to get out and speak to people. It's cross-generational as well. We had Alex in this evening with his friend Ben, and they're both 18. And then, Andrew, who's a little bit older than that, and then other customers who are like in their 40s, and then other customers in their 50s. And then it's just that the whole span of cross-generational, and no one really cares about age because it's so irrelevant. It's the fact that everyone has the same common denominator, that same focus, and that is that movies are really, really important to their happiness and to their life, and are a central point, a central focus to what they really, really love. It's their passion. And it was so great to see so many people converge in this space today, a Thursday, and really share some great tales about their love for film. So that was today. That was today at Snips Movies. An unexpected twist, but that is one of the great things about working here, in that you can have people turning up at the same time and finding such common ground, which is it's so good. It really does fill my heart. It is absolutely wonderful. So it has been, as usual, a great week last week. Nice and busy. Lots of films to talk about. I don't know how we're going to fit all these in, to be honest. There's lots and lots to talk about. So tonight, before I go in this 20-minute segment, I'm just going to talk about the new releases, which is this stack here. I'm going to talk about some on loans, which is that stack here. And then I'm going to talk about some what's in the box. And we have a lot. We have a gallon of Criterion films to talk about. Most of these, a lot of these come from a single seller on eBay. A lovely guy called Jonathan. And it says in his description that due to circumstances, he's having to sell a portion of his film collection. I know people that have had to do this in the past for various reasons, and it's a really hard thing to do. And so I took time out to write to him. I said, look, I'm sorry to have to buy these off you. I don't feel any pleasure in getting them for a slightly reduced price. But rest assured that these will be displayed with purpose at Snips, and young new generations of cinephiles will be coming in to rent these. So I think that kind of it didn't make up for his loss, but hey, at least he knows where his damn fine collection of Criterion films are going. So we've got Criterion to talk about. We have some Warner Archive has come in that we need to talk about. There's about 8 of those. There's some Film Masters releases that have come in, so we'll enjoy talking about those. We have the new Robert Bresson section to talk about, so we'll have a little look at that. And yeah, Comet's got some tapes to talk about as well, so I mustn't forget those. Probably will. So that's, yeah. So we got a lot. So we're going to quickly crack on with it, to be honest. And we're going to talk about this. It's for contemporary releases this week. There's not much. There's not much going really. I mean, this is the key film of the week. It is the new Brendan Fraser film. It's called Rental Family. It's directed by a guy with one name in the tradition of Mukherjee. This is directed by Hikari. It sounds like an amazing, heartwarming film, to be honest. And Brendan Fraser is just one of those actors that, yeah, just a satisfying presence on screen, especially in his latter years. So yeah, this is the lead film of the week, Rental Family. It's put out by Searchlight. I went for 2 blues on that. I went for 2 blues. I thought the audience for that will be Blu-ray orientated, so that's what we're going with there. This is the Jimmy Carr film. It's penned by Jimmy Carr. It stars Jimmy Carr as well, so I don't know how you feel about Jimmy Carr, but this is Jimmy Carr. Damian Lewis is in it. Tom Felton is in it. Ben Radcliffe. And yes, it's called Fuck-em-all. I don't know. I don't know much about this. All I do know is that it's been released by Entertainment and Video. Entertainment and Video, one of the longest serving distributors in this country. They used to distribute all the Full Moon stuff back in the 1980s. But yeah, Fuck-em-all is out this week on a Blu-ray and a DVD. A DVD, one of the rare DVD purchases at Snips recently of new stuff. The new Julia Cornell film is out. It's called Alpha. Julia, of course, is perhaps best known for her previous 2 films, which was Raw, the new French extremity film, Raw, and also Titane. Titane, of course, is one of my real bugbears in that there is no English-friendly copy of Titane or UK-friendly copy of Titane. You can import it. There's great Blu-rays existing in Germany and France, but they have no English subtitles. So, there is no physical way to watch a physical copy of Titane in this country, which is really, really frustrating because probably one of my most requested titles. But yeah, this is the new film from Julia Ducournau. Yeah, her most personal film yet. It's released this week from Curzon, and it's called Alpha. Alpha. On to the boutique. This sounds an interesting one. This is 20 years old, this film, unreleased for nearly 20 years. It's called The Birthday. Shot on a single, meticulously designed location. It's described as an offbeat dark comedy, and it says it offers a career best turn from Corey Feldman. There we go. Sounds like an interesting proposition. Eugenio Mira directed it. Draft House Films are behind it. And it's out this week on Blu-ray, courtesy of Arrow Video. Plowing on with the boutiques, we have the new entry in the BFI Flipside series. This is Flipside number 53. Released by Severin in the US. This is, of course, Negatives. It's a Peter Medak film. It's his debut, a provocative debut, no less. A dreamlike, acutely cinematic character study that penetrates the dark heart of unconventional relationships in the free love era. Dates from 1968. That's Peter Medak's Negatives. out this week on Blu-ray. New in the second run catalogue is Long Live the Republic. It's described by Mark Cousins as a lovely, epic film, and IFA Film described it as a beautiful and visually distinctive film. Set in spring 1945 in a rural Czech village during the final days of World War II. That's the new second run title that's out this week on Blu-ray. A couple from Eureka here. We have The Devil's Hand, which is a Maurice Turner film. Cinematic pioneer, also director Cecile is Dead. Sounds fantastic. A distinctively French twist on the likes of Faust and The Monkey's Paw. Adapted from a short story, and it sounds like a really... Well, it's described here as one of the finest horror films ever produced in France. It's from 1943, and that is The Devil's Hand. Love that artwork. Also from Eureka, we have The Invincible 8, more martial arts from Lo Wai. This is shortly before he achieved global success with The Big Boss and Fist of Furies. This film, The Invincible 8, was one of the first films produced by Golden Harvest following the company's founding in 1970. From 88 Films, we have the latest entry into the Italian classics collection. It's Shango. No, not Django. This is Shango. Sounds great. It is. I think it's by number 93 in the Italian classics collection. Directed by Edoardo Malazia. And yeah, who doesn't love a great spaghetti western, especially one that maybe isn't as so well known as the others. This has caused a bit of controversy. It's the first 4K UHD entry into the Slasher Classics collection from 88 Films. Well, there's two. Also out this week is Sorority House Massacre, but I'm waiting for my freebie from 88 Films. But I think they're going to send it with Strip to Kill, which is out in a week's time. So yeah, this is the first 4K UHD in the Slasher Classics collection. And of course, there's no either or. So if you want Fade to Black as part of your Slasher Classic collection, you either pay 25 quid for a dual format or you don't get it. So a few people are a bit upset. Some of the Blu-ray people are a bit upset with that because it means they can't... they're spending almost twice the amount of money for a disc that they potentially aren't going to use. But I can see why 88 have done it. And it just time will tell whether it will be a successful move. But that is Fade to Black, a brilliant horror film with an excellent lead performance by Dennis Christopher. Tim Thomason is in this as well. Yeah, great film out this week on Blu-ray and 4K UHD. Let's have a commentary track here by Amanda Reyes and Bill Ackerman. Listening this week to Bill Ackerman and his Supporting Characters podcast, and he has a fantastic couple of hours interview with 42nd Street Pete, which is brilliant. He went around to his house, mic'd him up, and they had a brilliant chat. And Pete, 42nd Street Pete, can tell some stories about the Grindhouse era of New York. Great storyteller. Lots of F-bombs. Yeah, so they're the new releases. I think that's a good spread, to be honest. So just before I shake a leg, let's have a little look at what's been renting this week. And it's been a good spread, as always. This has been a bit quiet lately, but good to see it's been going back out. It is one cut of the dead. Certainly when you look at the third window section up there, you have two shelves of very obscure films. If you need an entry point at any time into the third window section, my choices would be either one, Door, which is a brilliant horror film, or this, One Cut of the Dead. Yeah, One Cut of the Dead. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. One of the... Just an absolute riot. And yeah, starts off with a one-take 37-minute shot. Reason enough to see it. This crops up relentlessly on underrated film lists everywhere and podcasts. It is Restless Natives. Um, who directed this? I forget. Michael Hoffman. Um, but yeah, it crops up all the time. It's meant to be a brilliant, brilliant comedy from Scotland. Ned Beatty is in it. There's a soundtrack by Big Country, and it's just meant to be an absolute riot. I still haven't seen it, despite listening to endless people tell me that it's just an underrated classic. But yeah, Restless Natives is out on loan, and it's just a handy reminder to tell me to get my ass into gear and to watch it. Poison Ivy doesn't get much rental time. It's an interesting film. It's directed by Kat Shea, who, of course, directed Stripped to Kill as well. The first of a 4-film franchise, I do believe. And I know at one point we were discussing with 88 that we'd quite like to have this out on Blu-ray, but I think the most of the franchise are with different awkward licensors, and it's a tricky one to pick up. But I would love to see a box set. I think Scream Factory put a few together back in the day. But yeah, I do like the Poison Ivy films. They're good stuff. Phantom of the Opera rented out this week. Not the usual version either. This is the Hammer horror version that stars Herbert Lom and Michael Goff, directed by Terence Fisher. So yeah, not a great renter, but I've had a few people in the last few weeks going through those Hammer box sets and the William Castle box sets as well. So that's really, really good news. One of my customers, Neil, has discovered Benson and Moorhead for the first time. That's Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead to you. And he's been going through pretty much every one of their films, Synchronic and Spring and all those kind of things. And now he's finally up to Resolution, which I think was it their first film, Resolution? I don't know, but I think it might be one of my favorites of theirs, to be honest, even despite the great work they've done since. John Frankenheimer seems to be being talked about a lot recently, which is great because he was a very, very good director. Even on the island of Dr. Moreau. 7 Days in May. Yeah, what a film. What a film. So really good to see that going on. This was a new customer, I think, who came here for the first time on Sunday. Roxy and Paddy are doing a Circuitry Man double feature. A Circuitry Man double feature. Two great little sci-fis from the early 90s. Both South African in origin, I think. I think they're both in South African in origin. But yeah, they're good fun. Vernon Wells, and Tracy Lords is in one of them as well. But it's great to see these going out because these never get any love or affection. So I'm pleased to see them getting some time away from the store. Sorcerer, of course, is one of the most rented films in Snips since it came out on the Criterion edition. And even before then, the Warner Blu-ray was very, very, very popular. Loads of people discovering it, and it's great to see because it's an impeccable film by William Friedkin. However, it's also good to see that The Wages of Fear has started renting out. The Wages of Fear. Henri Georges Clouzot directed the film that Friedkin eventually remade, and it is a very, very good film. Very good film indeed. So pleased to see that a customer took Wages of Fear. Someone else asked for a recommendation in the Korean section. I said, well, try The Chaser. They did, and hopefully they will like it. It is a great film, isn't it? I should really wonder if there's a Blu-ray of this. There probably is, and I should probably see to the fact that I should upgrade this because this came out almost 20 years ago. 18 years ago it came out. And so my DVD is probably getting a little bit rusty. A little bit rusty because it's been a perennial renter in the last 18 years. And that's been good to see. So that's The Chaser going out on loan. And finally, one of the guys, Sion Sono, made some great films. Like Love Exposure, Cold Fish, Guilty of Romance, Suicide Club, again, an early film from his, but a brilliant piece of work, a brilliant piece of work, and great to see that going out on loan as well. So good, there we have it. There's a start for you. I'm going to go home and watch some film noir tonight. I'm going to watch some film noir from Warner Archive. But we're going to talk about that more in depth in the morning when I return. But yeah, we'll see you shortly and we'll have a nice little cut that just looks seamless. Good morning, Snips customers. Good morning on Godly Time, 9:35. Woman outside talking to a friend, and you would think the friend is standing over the other side of the road. But she's not. She's standing right next to her, but her voice is literally carrying over the other side of the road. Holy moly. And I can hear everything. It's one of those conversations where you're like, it's a really private conversation, and there's a lot of really gnarly stuff they're talking about. But I can hear every word. I don't want to hear every word. I don't want to hear every word about affairs and who's sleeping with who. Actually, I might go to the window and listen in. Anyway, it is 9:35 in the morning, Friday morning. Welcome to What's in the Box, which is the continuation of the latest video inside the video store. So a lot to talk about. We should do getting some of this out of the way, to be honest. I just kind of abandoned the place last night. I was just going to turn the light on in the horror section. And I meant to say to you yesterday that I have a brand new feature coming in, which is in conjunction with my good friend Ryan Verrill. Ryan, if you know, he runs a fantastic podcast and vidcast and Facebook group, Instagram page called The Disconnected. And he's a lovely guy. And he asked me if I would be kind of or generous enough to use Snips as an outlet for his magazine. And I said, well, it's the very least I can do, Ryan. I'd love to support you any way possible. Ryan is based in America, but he publishes, initially at his own cost, a brilliant magazine called The Physical Media Advocate. You have lots of great contributors, some great filmmakers giving their top 10s, some great label bosses giving their top 10s. I know Fran Simeone, the boss of Radiance, gave his top 10 a few issues ago. And it's just a great little magazine if you like physical media. As I say, there's some great articles. So it should be coming in today or tomorrow. I've just ordered a little batch to be going on with. I'm not selling it for profit, so the retail price will be $5.99 per issue. But it's a full-color magazine. It's really great, and it's just going to be displayed on a magazine rack as you walk into the horror section. So if you want a copy of the Physical Media Advocate, I do really heartily recommend it. I forget what issue they're up to now, but they've done a number of issues, and every issue gets a little better, becomes a little more fine-tuned. And it's a great periodical. They publish every month or bi-monthly, depending on work. Of course, Ryan has just given up his day job in order to focus solely on both The Disconnected and the Physical Media Advocate. And he's also setting up a physical media and theatrical distribution company called Antenna Releasing, which is such a bold and brave move. I wish him every success. So let's have a look at the criterions that came in. Let's give you the Criterion stats for today. The Criterion stats as it stands, Snips has 239 Criterion titles available to rent. Now, 239, that includes the Godzilla set as one, and the Zatoichi set as one. So 239 titles. Now, according to the website, UK Criterion have released 301. So that's a 61 title difference. I've made a list of 48 titles, 48 Criterion titles that I need to complete the set. That then, of course, leaves a gap of 13. You're like, well, what's the 13, Dave? Well, the 13 are the 6 that are slated to come out in the next 2 months. So it takes it down to 7. And the 7 remaining titles, the 7 remaining variants, are the titles that they've released once on Blu-ray and have released a second time on 4K UHD. And I'm not really one to double dip with that kind of thing. Like 310 to Yuma, I think, came out last week on 4K UHD, and I got it on Blu-ray. That's good enough. So yeah, 48 is the magic number in terms of Criterion. Some tricky titles to get there, some of which are out of print, but I shall try my best, and hopefully by Christmas this year, we shall have a complete set of Criterion titles, UK Criterion titles at Snips, which I think would be a great achievement, and that will coincide with me changing things a little bit more in the store to make some more space. Right, so what do we got? Well, finally, we've tracked down a copy of Fantastic Mr. Fox. So that is the full set of Wes Anderson's now. I also picked up a copy of Moonrise Kingdom yesterday, which has been the most difficult film of the lot of his to get. Yeah, that's the full set of Wes Anderson's now in Criterion, so I'm thrilled to bits for that. The Coca trilogy, Iranian films, obviously quite a timely moment to get these in. But yeah, the Coca trilogy, Abbas Kiarostami, 3 films from him, 87, 92, and 94. So yeah, great addition. Now this is a mega set. Oh, isn't this gorgeous? Jacques Demy, 6 films, Criterion box set. Oh, gorgeous set. You got a book in there as well. It features Lola, Bay of Angels, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which I know I have separately, The Young Girls of Rochefort, Donkey Skin, and Un Chambre en Ville. Really pleased to get it. I think this is the last really, really awkward set to get in Criterion. The last one that's gone out of print, and the last one that's going to be a really, really pricey. But thankfully, I didn't have to pay too much for it. The only other set which may set me back a few quid is the Lone Wolf and Cub Criterion set. But I have one eye on that, and I think I found it for a very decent price. So yeah, we shall see. So that's Jacques Demy. Otherwise, we have 3 revolutionary films by Ousmane Sembène, which is a great threesome of Senegalese movies. Onto some of the most standard editions now. We have Shampoo, the Warren Beatty film directed by, of course, Hal Ashby. We have Hiroshima Mon Amour, which is a film by Alan Resnais from 1959. Jesus, she's still going. Can you hear that? Holy moly. Masculine Feminine is Jean-Luc Godard, 1966. Another useful Godard film added to the Criterion collection. Love Affair, a Leo Carey film. Obviously been remade several times. But this is Carey's film from 1939. Umberto D adds a bit of Vittorio De Sica to the Criterion collection. I've had this in on DVD for quite some time, but an upgrade is very, very welcome. La Cage aux Folles, of course, you know it very, very well as The Birdcage, which was the 1996 remake with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. This, of course, is the original film with a soundtrack by Ennio Morricone. But yeah, La Cage aux Folles from 1978. Orson Welles, Othello. This is a 2-disc edition. We have the 1952 European version of the film and the 1955 US version of the film. Lots of great special features on that, so I can't wait to take it home. 3 Outlaw Samurai, another samurai film for Paul Griggs to sink his teeth into. It is the first feature by the legendary Hideo Gosha, and among the most beloved Chanbara films, 1964, that one. Oh Hazard Balthazar is Bresson. And of course, if we pause momentarily, we have the new Bresson section, which is here. I don't know if you can see me, but the new Bresson section is full of really cool stuff. We have L'Argent. We have the Trial of Joan of Arc. We have Pickpocket, which went out yesterday to Pete. So Pickpocket is out on loan. We have La Dame du Bois de Boulogne from Bresson. Another Bresson. A Man Escaped. That's out on loan as well. I think Paddy took that last weekend. We have Lancelot du Lac. And final Bresson film is The Devil. Probably. So yeah, great to see. So that's 7 Bresson joining the World Cinema section. Une Femme Douche is the one we've had in anyway. And of course 7, 8, 9 with Au Hazard Balthazar, and then 10 with Mouchette. So it's not bad. So when you add Jacques Rivette and when you add Bresson together, I think that's a good bit of French cinema that we've managed to acquire over the last 2 weeks. Tootsie is, of course, Sidney Pollack's film with Dustin Hoffman. And finally, we have, this looks interesting, it's the original cast album, Company, a film by D.A. Pennebecker. Now, Pennebecker, of course, was renowned for, didn't he do the Bob Dylan thing, No Way Home, No Direction Home, or something like that? I'm sure he did a Bob Dylan he did maybe the Monterey Pop Festival, maybe, but a renowned documentarian. And this looks absolutely fantastic. It's described as the holy grail for both documentary and theatre aficionados. A rare glimpse behind the Broadway curtain. It sounds amazing. Elaine Stritch is here. And others. Stephen Sondheim. Commentary on this. But yeah, sounds fantastic. That is the Company original cast album. So that's the Criterion. So it'd be good to slam those in there in the increasingly bulging Criterion section, which is just getting more and more packed. God, it's 9:47 already. In 13 minutes, I'll have people pressing their nose against the glass and demanding access. Let me just sign into my computer here so we can keep an eye on the time. Goody. Okie dokie. Right. So what's next? Well, let's look at the Oddments. Let's look at the Oddments because it is a week for Oddments. Again, tipped off by my wonderful customers who are just so well versed in great cinema, and they really know which direction the snip should be heading. So I had Dylan in at the weekend, and he was giving me a tip off to a couple of Louis Malle box sets that he said might be worth picking up. There's one feature film box set with 10 movies that should be coming today, and this is the other one that he tipped me off about. It's a Louis Malle documentaries collection, 7 documentaries by Louis Malle ranging from 1962 through to 1986. Some really interesting looking features here, and that is a shrink wrapped sealed copy of that, and it does fetch a pretty penny. It's now out of print. It was originally released by Artificial Eye, but yeah, so it's pretty good to have that on disc. I don't know whether that'll go in the Louis Malle section or in the documentary section. I shall mull that over. Weird one I didn't have in. Someone reminded me over the weekend that I should. It is, of course, Virtuosity, starring Denzel Washington and directed by Brett Leonard, who I think, if memory serves me correctly, he directed the Lawnmower Man. But yeah, you got Denzel in this. You have Russell Crowe. You have William Forsythe, Louise Fletcher. What a cast. This was playing at the New Beverly last month as part of their Eros program. And it is Pretty Maids All in a Row, Roger Vadim's film with a screenplay by Gene Roddenberry, the Star Trek guy. Rock Hudson stars in this, Angie Dickinson, Telly Savalas, Roddy McDowall, Keenan Wynn. After that, for a while, I'm glad to fit it in the Warner Archive section on DVD. Astronaut Lovers is a queer cinema film from Argentina, which looks spectacular. It's released by Matchbox Films, who are one of the greatest acquirers of that genre. Big thanks to Roxy for giving me the heads up on a copy of Images that was drifting around the internet. Been after this for a while, along with, if anyone spots a copy of 3 Women, the Robert Altman film, please let me know. But yeah, been after this one for a while for my Altman section, so really cool to have it in stock. Saint Narcisse is another queer cinema film. This one's by Bruce LaBruce. Saw this a few days ago. Enjoyed it. Really odd, But yeah, it's described as a love letter to the psychosexual thrillers of the 1970s, and you can see that, to be honest. Um, we have Philip recommended this one. He knows that Negatives was coming in this week, the Peter Medak film, and he said, "Well, Dave, maybe you should look at this other Medak film as well. It's A Day in the Death of Joe Egg. Sounds fascinating. Alan Bates is in it. Peter Bowles is in it, and based on Peter Nichols' stage play. It comes from 1972, so a few years after Negatives. But yeah, sounds interesting. A Day in the Death of Joe Egg. Finally, with the Oddments, we have Trash Humpers. Trash Humpers, the Harmony Korine film. This has been one of the most requested films at Snips in the last decade. So yeah, really pleased to get this limited edition umbrella release that came out last year, which is pretty cool. Trash Humpers, Harmony Korine. Okay, and there's more. We have a pair of kinos. I'm getting all four of these, but the first two are now in. It is Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. It's an incredibly offensive film. So many problematic moments in it. It's directed by Don Edmonds. Diane Thorne is the iconic Ilsa, and she is fantastic. It's available on 4K UHD only, although I do have the DVD buried somewhere in the store. Yeah, I can't recommend it, but I'm glad I have it because I think it's an interesting film. It's an interesting film in the sort of pantheon of exploitation movies, as this came out in 1975. Its sequel was called Ilsa Harem. How did you say harem or harem? Harem Keeper of the Oil Sheiks. Slightly toned down, slightly less offensive, but still incredibly packed full of debauchery and kink. Again, another interesting piece of work, but yeah, slightly more restrained and arguably a more enjoyable film as you're feeling less awkward watching it. Now, 3 in 4 in from Film Masters. Film Masters are the great sort of collaborative label run by a number of film industry people, and they just dig up some good stuff, restore it the best they can. They have Planet 9 from Outer Space coming out this year on 4K, which is just incredibly exciting. One of my favorite films. And their latest batch of releases include The Second Woman. The Second Woman, that's from 1950. It stars Robert Young and Betsy Drake. They have The Black Raven with George Zuko and Wanda McKay. That's from 1943. It's great golden era stuff. Sort of B movies. Brilliant. We have some Italian action in Hercules and the Captive Women, starring the iconic Reg Park. I love that. It's just the best name for a leading man ever. Reg Park. And finally, you may know this one. House on Haunted Hill. Yes, it's Roger Avery's film. No, it's not. It's William Castle's film. From 1959. It's in the public domain. But they've done a bit of work on this, and it looks fantastic. So it's well worth a rental. Obviously remade by Dark Castle in 2001, was it? Maybe earlier, 1999, I think it was. And this has a feature-length commentary by Heath Holland, who some of you may know from his YouTube exploits. Cool. So quickly onto Warner Archive. And it's a great set of 7 titles here. This one I watched last night. It's The Stranger on the Third Floor with Peter Lorre, arguably described as the first film noir ever. And you can see why it's called that. Some of the images on this is stunning. Clearly inspired by the German expressionist era of filmmaking. And it's a great noir. It's only 64 minutes, and it's a really good piece of work. Narrow Margin is in Narrow Margin. Charles McGraw later remade, I think, with Gene Hackman. Richard Fleischer directed that. We have some more animation. Loopy de Loop. More Hanna-Barbera. This one's a little bit old. This one's from 1959. So yeah, really cool to see. Manpower features Edward G. Robinson and Marlene Dietrich. It's directed by Raoul Walsh. Sounds great. Hard-hitting drama. We have Mogambo. Had this one on DVD already, but it's such a iconic film. Directed by John Ford. Very spectacular. Clark Gable and Ava Gardner. Yeah. Really does look great. Red Dust, again, is more Clark Gable. Red Dust. This one's directed by Victor Fleming. Who directed, of course, Gone with the Wind. This was made prior to Gone with the Wind. This was 1932. And then The Verdict. The Verdict with Peter Lorre and Sidney Greenstreet, directed by Don Siegel. Don Siegel's first movie, that is The Verdict. That's a great range of films. Also got to highlight this to you. Shaker Run. This was mentioned on the Pure Cinema podcast as one of the undiscovered gems, the film discoveries. And it's a New Zealand film, Kiwi film from 1985. And oh, boy, did I love this film. Cliff Robertson stars. Leif Garrett is in it as well. And it's just a riotous, joyful action movie from New Zealand. Yeah, we're pretty much done now. So we're just going to whip through some comments before I have to open the door to the masses. Hey. What do we got? So what kind of weekend will it be? I don't know. It's not as sunny as it was yesterday. Okay, Corey. Yeah, we had this good discussion last week about horror. Horror films from the original countries still being in world cinema. And Corey says, yeah, international horror should be put into the regular horror section to make it easier for fans to find when going on a binge. Best would be to have the international version next to the Hollywood remake. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. We've still got some Room 101 ideas coming in for your movie Room 101. Still some ideas coming in. Adam Schofield, his idea was Tropic Thunder. He went to see it at the Odeon, Leicester Square. Place was full, and I was the only one not laughing. Yeah, I've never got the Tropic Thunder vibe. Never got the whole thing with that. Yeah, never really appealed to me. Freddie Dankin says, yes, Enter the Video Store Volume 2. Any idea when this release will be? Well, apparently it was due to be announced this month, but it got put back, and our producer wrote to us and said, well, unfortunately, we have something big coming out, so everything has had to be shifted back. I'm thinking, well, what big could come out? And it is, of course, the announcement yesterday that Stranger Things is coming out on Blu-ray and 4K HD from Arrow. That's the big thing that's kind of moved everything back. Interesting, Stranger Things coming out from Arrow. Does that mean a new dawn of Netflix physical media? Who knows? Interesting thought. GHGFFD, I love watching this series and seeing what people are renting. So many movies I've never heard of before, and so many films get added on my watch list every time I watch it. What people are renting seems to be one of the most perennially loved sections of the video. Late Night Double Feature says, Dave, thank you for your genuine reaction to my 101 film from last week. It touched me. Thank you. Yeah, it was just a really emotional story, and I really appreciate you sharing that. That was great. Check out last week's video to hear Late Night Double Feature's story about his Room 101 film, or just check out the comments from the week before. Hello, what Late Night Double Feature asks this week, maybe you can ask everybody this week about the films that are generally regarded as crap but hold a special place in your heart. So what film, this is this week's question, what film is universally derided, universally thought of as awful, but you like it and you don't care? Give me some ideas. Give me some ideas. What film will you defend until the day you die? Brick Builds with last week's double bill with The Loved Ones, followed by The Ordeal. Right, that's a pretty intense brick on loan. That's a pretty intense double bill, Brick Builds. Pretty intense. Was not prepared for The Ordeal. Yes, it's difficult to prepare yourself for The Ordeal. It is quite a film. John Hughes, I've been waiting for you to get the Breakfast Club in. Fingers crossed it's in tomorrow. We're a bit late on that. It was in. John rented it. He's brought it back. End of stories. James says, French cinema is something that I need to spend more time with. Two excellent films I watched recently is Le Cercle Rouge and Army of Shadows. Both outstanding. Yeah, both outstanding. Both in the Melville section there. Good to hear that you like those. Dan Turner says he paid cash, in order to see a double bill of Down, Periscope and Screamers at the cinema in 1996. I must admit, I am partial to Screamers. I do like a bit of Peter Weller. Who doesn't? Oh yeah, and James mentions that in the room in episode 101, there was a movie where I mentioned that there was a director called Joe Gage. Joe Gage, of course, is the iconic gay porno director. But James says that you mentioned the director, Joe Gage, but in The Hateful Eight, Michael Madsen's character is called Joe Gage. It's a weird kind of thing, isn't it? I mean, does Quentin Tarantino know that Joe Gage is a iconic gay director? Who knows? Mysterious. Anyway, I'd like to know. We have people rattling the door, friends. We have people rattling the door. So I am going to disappear. Oh, no, let me just grab the film. One sec. Okay, just bring that back.
Yeah, just
thanks very much. Great, thank you. I didn't want that lady waiting outside with just a return. So there we go. Anyway, it's 3 minutes past 10. I'm going to be open, and we have Beethoven's Second. It's now back in store, so all you people who are waiting for Beethoven's Second, you can now rent it with comfort. Thank you very much for watching. What have we got lined up in the next few days? There's still plenty of stock coming in. I've got a new series going in the queer cinema section devoted to boys on film. I know many of you watching this will be getting in your cars right now to come and rent the Boys on Film series. All 24 editions of it. All 24 editions of Boys on Film. Boys on Film, of course, is an iconic franchise developed by Peccadillo Pictures, where each edition has about 9 or 10 short films on there. And to be honest, I'm not a great fan of the title. I think it's a bit predatory. But it's a great series because it's giving filmmakers and short filmmakers, people this big, it's giving short filmmakers the opportunity to get their work out into bricks and mortar places, and which you're just out and about generally. So, that's really important. So that whole series will be coming in the next few weeks, all 24 editions. Severin should be coming in by next week, which is the Lost Andy Milligan films and the 2 Indiana Jones rip-offs, and there's a few more little bits coming in as well. So yeah, it never stops moving. I'm going to spend today on these, clearing the decks, so I shall have immense fun doing that. And yeah, keep in touch, keep commenting, keep writing to me and telling me how great you think this place is. Only joking. And yeah, just I will see you soon. Probably in 7 days' time.